Hello, hello, and welcome to tonight's stream. I hope you guys are ready for a fun little night. I almost didn't stream, and then I had Hidden Fates. So here I am. Yeah, we got Hidden Fates on the board. Did a little restock there. I don't know if I've ever had this before. Honestly, I don't remember a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh things I've had previously, but we have a singular pack of Metal Raiders Unlimited. Because the first ed ones cost like a bajillion dollars. But here we go. So that's kind of fun. And then I think those are the main two updates to the board for tonight. But yeah, there we go. Hidden Fates. I had Hidden Fates a couple weeks ago, but now we have it again. Also my computer is trying to crash. So if suddenly the stream just stops working, that's why. Hopefully it decides to not crash though, because that would be like super cool if it didn't crash. That'd be super nice. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. That would be preferable. Yeah, hopefully it's fine. I don't know. It's being weird. Also, okay, so it's kind of weird, but I didn't realize until today that I have never like gone sledding before. Like normal sledding, you know. Take a sled, you go down a hill covered in snow. Like, I haven't done that. I've been pulled around in a sled by a four-wheeler before, but never like, you know, regular sledding until today. Today, I went sledding for the first time. It was pretty sweet. I feel like I was really good at it. The only part I was not good at was, ironically enough, the part where we had to hold on to a rope and have what are they called? A snowmobile? Yeah. One of those pull me up the hill on my sled. I was really bad at that part. Despite my only experience being pulled around behind four-wheelers. I guess it's just four-wheelers. I'm good at being pulled behind four-wheelers, but not snowmobiles, it would seem. So yeah, that part I face planted a couple times and it was not fun. But once I got to the top of the hill, I went down. I was really good. I didn't fall over like at all. Very proud of myself for that. It was pretty alright. It was a pretty good time. So yeah, I got to do that today. I also worked a bunch. I think the most interesting thing that happened at work as well as at the game store. This guy that had been in previously and like asked about like Griffin Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and like we're like, do you like have names of cards you want? They're like, no, Griffin, I just want Griffin cards. And I'm like, well, I can't find them if I don't have names. And so that was like really difficult last time he was there. And so he came back and he's like, what Griffin cards do you have? I want to buy like $5 worth of Griffin cards. And I was just like, oh no, not again. But so this time I was like, okay, you know what? Actually, I do know one Griffin related card that should be pretty easy to find. And so I went to our trap box and I pulled out a bunch of Griffin wings from the Pegasus starter deck. And I grabbed a pile of like, it was like 15 or 16 of them. And I'm like, we have this Griffin card. They're all the same one, but like, he's like, yes, I'll take all of them. And I'm just like, they're all the same thing. You know that, right? He's like, as long as they're like legal to put in decks, like, he didn't say legal, but he's like, as long as I can play it, like, I'll take them. And I'm like, okay. And then he was happy, he bought them and he left. And I was like, that's all it took. A stack of Griffin wings. It was so interesting. But, you know, it worked out. They were happy. They left. They're kind of one of those people that kind of just, like, makes me uncomfortable, you know? Doesn't quite vibe. So I was not upset that they left quickly. And they were so happy to have their Griffin wings. So I felt pretty proud of myself for figuring out that situation. Just wanted a whole stack of them. He was good with that. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, that works for me. So yeah, that's probably the most interesting thing that happened at work today. Otherwise, it was a pretty quiet day. A little quieter than usual, I'd say, for Mondays. But just vibed, you know. Helped customers, worked on TCG Player, did this and that. And then, of course, I went sledding. I probably was there like an hour and a half sledding. I got there like late. But, you know, I feel like it was like fashionably late to the point where it's like, you know, I just vibed for like the fun part where while it wasn't like extremely busy, just a little bit busy. And then I was like, okay, now I'm gonna go to my other job. I'm gonna go to Hilltop. But so the problem so I went sledding in a city that's, ooh, I don't know. It took me like a 30-minute drive through these sketchy canyon freeway places from the game store to get there. And so of course I had to use navigation because I had never been there before. And so after I had like gone down the hill once or something, I checked my phone and it was at 1%. And I'm like, what do you mean? I was at 40% before I left to go here. But then I remembered that my phone's broken and it just like does not maintain battery at all. So I'm getting a new one though. I'm getting a new phone because my phone is no longer really functioning. So yeah, that's fun. Alright, let me hurry and check orders actually before I continue my story. Oh, there it goes. The computer is crashing. Okay, I might have to restart my computer. I will have to be right back. It's crashing. Ah! Well. Alright, I'm back. Hello. Hopefully this time my computer doesn't crash again. I think it's okay now. It seems to be fine. So we should be good. Gotta love it when my computer just decides to crash right before stream. See, I thought it would be fine because I just turned my computer on like 20 minutes before I started stream. I was like, it should be good. It shouldn't have to restart. But apparently it wanted to restart really badly. But it restarted. And it says things are going smooth, so I think we're good. We survived that. Alright, there we go. We're all set. So now I can continue my story. Now that my connection's back. Because unlike me being able to just restart my computer and then it was fine to do what I need to, my phone being at 1% was not that easy to solve. So I'm like at this place I've never been to before. About 30 minutes from work, probably closer to 45 minutes from my house, and my phone's at 1%. And I'm like, so obviously, this isn't gonna work for navigation. Like, it is not going to work. So I'm like, well, I have two options. I can either pull up navigation and just have it help me for as long as it can, or I can just try to preserve my battery and do as much as I can on my own to get like back to Hilltop. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see what I can do. I vaguely know the route that I took to get here. I noticed some landmarks. I think I might be able to do this. And so at this point it was dark. Like, this was after the sun had set, so everything was dark. And then in addition to that, we were up in the mountains, and so it decided to start raining. And so I had to get back on these. So actually, first I had to drive through the town to get back to, like, out of the town. And I was able to do that. I was able to find those places I remembered seeing, and I was so proud of myself. And I was able to get back onto the freeway. And so now I'm on the freeway, the sketchy freeway. This freeway, like, literally, where are my sticky notes? Ha. This freeway, I kid you not, is shaped like this. Like, I got on and it was like going like that, and then it's just like literally, it's just the most chaotic shape. Like, there's so many sharp turns and stuff. The speed limit is changing constantly. Like, go 55 around this turn, go 60 around this turn. Okay, now it's 70. Now go back to 60. Psych, it's 50. It was so crazy. But so yeah, I gotta go through that crazy freeway in the dark, in the rain. And anytime, like, somebody going on the other side of the freeway, like, had their lights on, it momentarily would blind me. And so it was so sketchy for the first little bit of that drive. And I'm like, I don't even know what exit I'm trying to find. And so it was rough. For a while, I was just like, I'm just going to keep driving and hope for the best. But finally, I started noticing some signs for city names that I recognized were kind of close to where I wanted to go, and I'm like, all right, I'm going in the right direction. I think I can do this. And then finally, I saw the exit for Riverdale, and I'm like, that's the one I need to take. And so I took the exit. And then when I was, going to the exit, there were two ways that I could go. One of them left and one right. And I was like, I think I'm supposed to go left here if I'm right about, like, the general area that I'm in. Because that should be the right way to get onto the part of Riverdale Road that I need to. But somehow I accidentally ended up in the lane going right instead. I think there was, like, a car, and I didn't realize that the lanes were, like, I don't know, the lanes were weird. But so I ended up going right, and I was just like, I don't think this is the lane I wanted to be in. But then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm pulling onto Riverdale Road, and I'm going the right direction, and I'm like, I did it! Everything was intentional, other than that last little mistake that ended up being right, and so I made it to Hilltop in one piece, without navigation. And I was so proud of myself. Like my dad, like, he gives us a hard time about, like, us probably not even being able to read a map. Well, take that, Dad. I was able to get from a place I'd never been before to work without even having a map. No navigation, no map. I didn't even ask anyone for directions. I was just like, alright, brain, it's me and you, let's do this. And it worked out. I got to work, I packaged up some stuff and sorted some cards, and then I was like, alright, now I'm gonna go home. And then I don't know what I was gonna do, but then I got home and was like, oh yeah, I got Hidden Fates earlier. And so then I was like, time to stream. Of course, it's kind of a late stream, a little bit later than usual. I typically shoot for around 11, but tonight I didn't get started until like 30 minutes after midnight, so a little bit later than usual. I'm gonna take a quick second and we're gonna check orders. I don't really know if we'll get any tonight since like I said, we did start a little extra late, but either way, it's fine. We can just chill. You know what was also interesting about my adventures today is, so from work I started driving towards the freeway that I needed to get on to go to the sledding place, and then I realized that, like, my gas tank was on empty, and I was like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So then I turned around and went back to the spot that I always refill my gas, because it's, like, the cheapest place in the area. And then I went on my way, and I was just thinking, like, how bad would it have been if I didn't notice that I was on empty, and I just went for it, and then all of a sudden, I was just driving down this sketchy freeway, and my car was just like, so, funny story, I'm not gonna keep moving. We're done. We're stopping here. That would have been horrible. So I'm very glad that I noticed that I needed to refill my tank. And the gas prices have gone down slightly more than last time I had to refill my tank, so it was slightly more affordable, which was nice because the gas prices are still kind of brutal, and I was not stoked about the fact that I was going to be using a bunch of that gas immediately to go, on this adventure to go sledding, but it made me feel slightly less bad that at least it's less expensive. That's going to be nothing compared to sometime in the next few months, I'm probably going to take a big road trip to visit my grandparents who live like 5 hours away from me. And so that's obviously going to use a lot of gas. So that's going to be interesting, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be my first like solo trip, I guess, anywhere in that sense. Like, the only places I've driven to on my own so far have just been to, like, work or places to buy cards. And that's all been within, like, 30-ish minutes of my house. And then, like, a couple times, like, tonight, where I went to some special thing that was maybe, like, up to an hour away. But, yeah, at some point soon, I'm gonna be going on a big, huge trip all on my own. And I'm honestly really excited for it because I really hated car trips as a kid. Like, I did not enjoy just being in the car, sitting, doing nothing, bored. But I'm like, if I could just get to drive the whole time. I really like driving. Like, I genuinely enjoy driving. So I'm like, this should be pretty chill. I'll just get to drive. I can take as many stops as I want. If there's a good place to buy Pokemon, I don't have to ask for permission to stop there. I can just get off the exit and go and do whatever I want. And so that's kind of exciting. I can just chill and vibe and chill like I do. I'm like, you know, I'll tell my extended family that are along the way, like, hey, I'm coming through. If you want to meet up and say hi, let me know. And it'll just be this whole great adventure. And then I'll get to see my grandparents, and then maybe see some frogs, depending on when I go. At certain times of year, there are a lot of frogs near my grandparents' house. And I've never actually been there to witness it, and it makes me so sad, because we always go at the wrong times of year. But I actually haven't been to my grandparents' house in a long time, and I feel so bad. But, like, they come and visit every few months. Like, for Christmas they came down, and then recently my grandma was in town for my mom's birthday. But my grandpa, I don't know what it was, but he had to stay home for some reason. But I'm like, I'm finally gonna get to go to their house, and I'm kind of excited to do it alone. Like, previously, man, it was a couple to a few years ago, I did stay at their house, like, without the rest of my family for a while. Like, one of my parents drove me, like, half the way there, and then my grandma drove and picked me up and brought me all the way to her house, and, like, I stayed with her and my grandpa for, like, a week, and it was pretty chill. But, this time, I get to do everything on my own timetable. I don't have to inconvenience anybody by making them give me drives or give me a ride. I just get to drive there and chill and do whatever I want, and it's so exciting. It's great. The only really hard part is going to be that there's going to be nobody with me to buy me a random thing of candy at, like, the one rest stop we go to during the whole trip. I'll miss that. Yes, I'm going to spend tons of money on cards along the way, but, like, buying, like, a $2 snack from a gas station, I don't know, I'm probably just not going to. I'm cheap in certain ways and not so in others. When it comes to cards, it's like, here's my money, have it. When it comes to any, like, food thing, I'm like, I don't know about that. Sounds like money I'd rather not spend. I don't know how I'm gonna feed myself when I move out of my parents' house, when I grow up and I leave. I'll have to, like, actually buy food for myself. Like, I just can't not. I'll just buy a lot of really cheap stuff. I'll just eat my favorite cheap cup noodles. I like that stuff. That's what I ate for dinner today. I had some cup noodles. They're great. They're the cheapest kind, and I like them better than the more expensive kinds. And, like, applesauce. Applesauce and cheap noodles. I think I'm set. I should be good. And I guess some kind of, like, juice and bread. Yeah, I think those four things are what I primarily need. Of course, there are other, like, little possible things I could add to that, but, like, in general, those four things should get me through the day. Like, today, for lunch, breakfast, aka the first meal of the day at, like, lunchtime, I had bread. Then I had a little snack of some applesauce, like, once on my drive to work. And then I ate my cup noodles as a meal at work before I went to sledding. And then when I was at Hilltop, I guess I ate some Nutter Butters and some fruit snacks. But see, fruit snacks I could just replace with applesauce. We just don't have applesauce there. But Nutter Butters I do really like, so maybe I'd have to have those too. I mean, technically proteins, so, like, there's a reasonable application for those, but I probably wouldn't buy very many of them because I think Nutter Butters are more expensive than bread. But it's not like I would know. I just tell my mom what I want, and she's like, "Alright, we've got it." My mom is pretty great. She buys me all my weird food stuff. I think she probably appreciates it that she doesn't have to make, like, meals and stuff for me all the time. Like, the rest of my family is usually, like, at home for dinner, so my mom cooks dinner and everybody eats it together, except for me, because I'm always at work. I am home for dinner once a week, and that day is on Sunday, because that's the day I take off from work. Every other day, though, I am not at home for dinner. Even last week when I took Thursday off, I wasn't home for dinner because I went and took my mom and we got Great Harvest bread for dinner. It was great. It's fancy bread. And you guys know how I like my bread. Yeah, you know, it's pretty easy to feed me. Just think like you're feeding a kindergartner and you're probably good. You know? I just want applesauce and bread and cheap noodles. And some juice. I also like juice. I don't like water, but I like juice. Or like, I don't know, I think Sunny D has a lot of water in it. Yeah, it's the #1 ingredient. Water and then high fructose corn syrup, aka sugar. It's just sugar water. Works for me. I like me some sugar water. With a little bit of citric acid, you know? That's important too. Alright, let me hurry and check orders real quick. We'll give it a few more minutes. If you don't see new orders, I'll probably wrap up for the night, but I did want to do a little stream and tell you guys all my fun stories. It was a pretty vibey day. A good day for stories. I'm trying to think if anything else interesting happened, but I think that was the extent of it. The rest of the week should be interesting. Tomorrow for Hilltop, they're doing a stream with a football player for the Dallas Cowboys, and I won't be there while they're doing it. But so, what I plan on doing, the football player's name is Simi, and I'm like, all right, I don't own a single sports card, but this is a great opportunity to like get a Simisear signed by Simi. So my plan tomorrow is, while I'm there before the stream, I'm gonna ask my boss. I'm gonna be like, hey, do you think Simi would be offended if I ask if like I have you ask him to sign this Simisear card for me, since I won't be there and I don't own any sports cards? I think it should be fine. I think it should be funny. I hope it's funny in a wholesome way. But that's my plan. Now I just actually have to find a Simisear. I can't decide if I'm going to do like a Simisear V, or if I'm just going to find some like random Simisear uncommon or whatever. I guess I'll have to see what I can actually find. I don't even know what box a Simisear C would be in. Simisear V would be in. But I also don't really know what box a regular Simisear would be. I mean, I guess I could look at what sets did this come out of, and then I can get a general idea of what type of area a Simisear would be. Whoever thought that I'd be so worried about finding a Simisear? Okay. There's one from Fusion Strike. That should be pretty easy to find. Crown Zenith and Brilliant Stars are the ones with Simisear V. Of course, there's also the super cool Simisear V Star, but I probably don't want to have that one signed. Let's see, there's one in Darkness Ablaze. There's a bunch of older sets that I wouldn't have. So it looks like probably either the Darkness Ablaze or the Fusion Strike one. I kind of go with the Fusion Strike one. Like, this one's pretty great. Look, I love this. I might go with this one. Hopefully I can find some Fusion Strike bulk, and I'll be like, alright, this is the one I want signed. Or if I find Darkness Ablaze. We also got this little silly guy. A Pokemon that I never cared about until we got this. But now, for the memes, it's important. I mean, I could also get one of the other Simis. You know, we also have Simisage, Simipour. They're, you know, they exist too. But I think I'm gonna go with Simisear just because that's the first one I thought of. Plus, you know, it's fire. And I don't know, I don't really like any of them that much, but maybe he's less bad than some of the others. Honestly, the more I look at Simisear, the less I like him, so I'm just gonna stop looking at Simisear. This is problem solving. This is problem solving right here, my friends. Alright. Let's check orders one last time, but I think we're probably gonna call it a night. I should be streaming again tomorrow, though. Probably not after midnight. Probably not after midnight tomorrow. I'll try and start at a better time. And I am waiting on some other exciting stuff to come, but I have not gotten it yet. But soon I will be getting more cool stuff. So should be exciting. Should be a fun week. I mean, I guess I actually have to like make the effort to find and buy stuff, but I do have some plans to restock some things. Like, I was supposed to get more Scarlet, but you want to know what I didn't do? I did not get more Scarlet, but maybe later in the week. We'll see. But yeah, I think that is going to be all for tonight. Thank you guys for vibing with me, and I will see you guys next time.